Hear me out. It's a bar crawl, but instead of bars, they're bookstores. And all the bookstores are locally owned. And you get a cute little passport to keep track of where you've been. So what are we waiting for? Let's go. As I was scrolling on TikTok and Instagram, I became aware of the fact that there are a handful of bookstores in Orlando that have come together to help encourage people to shop locally owned bookstores, including one located inside of a library. And they knew aesthetic little booklets would send them straight to our hearts, so let's not waste any time. Allow me to present to you the Bookstore Shopping Tour, the Greater Orlando area. Oh, and by the way, I'm Melizza, and this is my channel. We're starting off by heading to Kissimmee, which is just south of Orlando, and they have a brand new bookstore that I cannot wait to show you. This is White Rose Books and More, located in downtown Kissimmee. Look at their funny little sign. I loved it. It made me laugh. I feel like we need to come up with a way to describe the size of bookstores, because I guess I would say this is small since it's only one room, but I've seen even smaller bookstores. But don't let that count you out of visiting here, because they have a great selection of books. I especially loved the blind date with the book cart. I think the way that they wrapped them is just so artistic. Like, I would feel so bad trying to destroy this. But one thing I love about local bookstores and why I go out of my way to try to visit them, whether it's here in Florida or if I'm somewhere else, is because not only do they support a local business, but they support local authors and even some local artists. So around this bookstore, there is art made by Orlando artists. There are books in here by Orlando-based authors, which I will give you a little sneak peek of in just a few clips. And one thing I've noticed about a lot of Florida bookstores is that they often have a banned book section, because there are a lot of rules about what can and can't be read in schools in Florida now. And you'll be surprised. If you see one, definitely take a look, take some notes, and get out there and vote. We just got out of White Rose Bookstore. It is so cute, and I love that it's in Kissimmee, because Kissimmee didn't have like a local bookstore. And I talked to the girls, who are so sweet, by the way, and they told me that they just opened in October. So how exciting is that? So this whole book crawl is not something that I made up myself. This is actually something that all of these bookstores have partnered together to do, and you're supposed to get a cute little passport that you can bring to each bookstore, and I don't know if they stamp it or something. I don't really know what the thing is with the passports, but I asked the girls for it, and they said unfortunately, but also fortunately, they're sold out and they don't have any more to give, because they didn't anticipate this being so popular in this area. So they only printed like 30 per bookstore, and it's so popular that all of the stores are already out of the passports, but they're being reprinted. Hopefully when we go to stores tomorrow, they'll have some passports. But I did get something. I have my book shopping tote, which is The Little Mermaid, and it says, "Read Beyond the Surface." I'm actually super excited for multiple reasons for the book that I got. I'm once again trying to do the whole one book per bookstore goal/limit, especially because I got so many books on my Colorado bookstore shopping tour. So let's just keep it to what's important. I'm trying to pick books that I'm very excited about, have heard about, really want to read, or something special. And this definitely is something special. So I got Roller Coaster Romance. And honestly, it sold me on the title, because Orlando is the theme park capital. Has to be. We have like 6 with at least one more on the way for sure. And I just thought it would be fun to read a little theme park romance. It sounds like the main character is falling in love with somebody that she works with. She's the manager of a mine train and haunted house. and she has to deal with all like the quirky co-workers at the theme park. And I just feel like this is literally so perfect to be living in Orlando. And the girls at the bookstore told me that Kate Mosman, the author of this book, is actually an Orlando local, and she signed it. So how fun is that? I almost forgot my other purchase. Hot People Read annotation kit. They actually sell the whole like emergency annotation kits, which are so cute, but I do not need another little bag of things. So I just bought the things that come in the cute little bag. It comes with the page flags that you see like every book talker, every booktuber have, and the square like highlighter and matching pen. I love anything aesthetic, and this makes reading more aesthetic. So I find that to be fun. And because I like it and think the colors are really cute, maybe I'll actually convince myself to sit down and annotate a book, because I've tried. But my attention span is teeny tiny. I'm thinking I can do one more bookstore today that is on the book crawl list, and we can see what we get. So let's go. Great day to wear Crocs. It's so wet and rainy outside. I think one of the most underrated sections of a bookstore is the one where they put the local interests, local artists section. This is definitely not specific to just Florida bookstores. When I was in Colorado, a lot of those bookstores also had a Colorado section. And this is where you'll find those local artists or common interests in the area. So because we live in Orlando and are around Walt Disney World, there are lots and lots of Disney books in these sections, like these hidden Mickey ones. And sometimes you'll even find books that take place in the place that you are currently shopping in, which how fun is that? We have caught ourselves in the middle of the Florida afternoon monsoon. On the drive over here, it started raining, and I'm talking like the big, juicy raindrops. Made it kind of scary to drive, but we made it here safely. We went shopping inside of Sunshine Books, which that store is so adorable. I would describe this bookstore as very quaint. I want to say cute, of course, but I feel like I use that word to describe everything, but quaint is the perfect fit for this bookstore. I low-key think, I should have asked, but I low-key think it's like a remodeled house. It looks like a house. This is like a neighborhoodly area, so I could totally see somebody turning a house into a bookstore, which goals, oh my gosh. The woman I met inside, Beth, helps out her two friends who are the owners, Beth and Todd, I believe. So shout out Beth and Todd. I love your quaint little bookstore. She was so sweet, and she gave me a little tour of the bookstore. It's small, but I don't know, it just gives me that small town, warm, cozy vibe. So it's definitely one of the favorite ones I've been to in the greater Orlando area. And she did give me an update on the passports because I asked her just in case she had one, lying around. She told me that the Writer's Block bookstore in Winter Park, which is on my go-to list tomorrow, definitely has them. And since she couldn't stamp my passport, I kind of ruined it. She stamped my bookmark. She said it would count. I don't really care if it counts. I just want the passport for the aesthetics and to say that I did this little book crawl. I love that store. I feel like if it was any bigger, I would have been in there all day. For a small bookstore, I feel like it has a decent amount of sections and a decent amount of really popular titles within those sections. In the small fantasy shelf, I had heard of most of those books, but there were some I hadn't heard of, which is always great when you're looking at books. But let me show you what I got. You can see the rain on my bag. I'm sure no one is surprised, but I got 2 books instead of just one. But in my defense, the first one that I'm going to show you was on the used book cart, okay? Here she is. She was $2. $2, and it's called Ways to Make Sunshine. There's a little black girl on the cover. I believe this is a middle grade. It may even be like elementary school grade. So it's written by Renee Watson, who is a Newbery Honor and a Coretta Scott King award-winning author. I'm not super familiar with middle grades. I don't read a ton of them, but I really want to, hence me picking up this book. And it was $2, which, where are you buying a book for $2 in this economy? Sunshine Books. Honestly, the back really sold me, so let me read it to you. Ryan Hart can be and do anything. Period. Ryan's name means king, that she is a leader, and that she is determined to keep growing into the name her parents gave her. She's all about trying to see the best in people, to be a good daughter, sister, and friend, but Ryan has a lot on her mind. Girl, same. This mind don't stop running. For instance, Dad finally has a new job, though money is still tight. That means moving into a new, old house, and Dad working the night shift. And with the 4th grade talent show coming up, Ryan wonders what talent she can perform on stage in front of everyone without freezing. As even more changes and challenges come her way, Ryan always finds a way forward and shows she is a girl who knows how to glow. If that is not inspiring and motivating, what is? Part of the reason I'm so interested in starting to read a little bit more middle grade here and there is because they take these really big ideas and make them so digestible and through the eyes of somebody who's really young. I think that's why movies like Inside Out and Inside Out 2 do so well, because it breaks down these really big adult grown-up kind of scary concepts and makes them easier and makes them lighthearted, and you can appreciate life a little bit more. I feel like that got kind of deep, but that's part of the reason why I picked up this middle grade. I also got a little sticker that says, "Bookstores love everyone. We should all love everyone." Ways to Make Sunshine was my second book. I actually picked up this book, which is Sense and Sensibility. It is a classic Jane Austen book, and it was one of my favorite stories, actually, that I read in high school. It was the first time I was ever introduced to Jane Austen, and I did not go to a high school that read a lot of literary fiction. We were super underfunded and had other things to take care of. I remember my experience reading this in high school being very positive, and I actually stayed up to do the homework. Of course, it wouldn't be a classic if it wasn't a well-loved story or a well-loved author, but this book falls in that special category as well, because not only is this like Sense and Sensibility, but maybe you're noticing how beautiful this book cover is. And that's because this edition was made by a company called Rifle Paper Co. And I believe they started in Orlando, I've been to their store in Winter Park, and maybe we'll stop over there tomorrow since we'll be in the neighborhood. They're a stationery company, design company. They come out with a lot of products that you'll see in Target. I feel like Rifle Paper Co. just pops up everywhere. But I didn't know they do books, and this is one of their books. So not only did I buy this at a local Orlando-ish bookstore, but it's made by a company that also started in Orlando. That is so, so special and so Floridian, and I love her. I can't wait to display her on my shelf. I don't know if I'll really reread Sense and Sensibility, but this book kind of counts as house decor because it's so gorgeous. 10 out of 10 Sunshine Book Co. on Instagram. If you're ever in the greater Orlando area, I definitely recommend this one. It's a brand new day, which means brand new bookstores. Sort of, in a way. Mostly. Kind of. I don't know. Today, we are in Winter Park, Florida, which is just north of Orlando proper. We're gonna head to Writer's Block Bookstore, which is actually the bookstore that is putting on the whole Passport book crawl. If you watched my bookish summer vlog, then you would have seen me briefly in the Writer's Block Bookstore in Winter Garden. They actually have two locations. So there's Winter Garden and Winter Park. And today we are in Winter Park to go hopefully pick up a passport. Let me start off here by issuing an apology because we have been talking about the different sections in bookstores and I haven't even asked you what your favorite section of a bookstore is, so please leave me a comment and tell me what you like to look at in bookstores and even the genre of books you like to look at. Writer's Block Winter Park has a pretty big YA fantasy and YA section in general, which is music to Melizza's ears. So I definitely took my time here, spent a lot of time reading those little pieces of papers with the back summaries written on them. I love those, by the way. If you work in a bookstore, make sure that those never go away. And I hope that by showing you what I like to look at in the bookstore, you can get some book recs for yourself and also be inspired to visit your own local bookstore if you have one nearby. I bet you do, and see what kind of sections they may have curated. This one had a table labeled My Big Fat Greek TBR, which was full of Greek mythology-based books. How fun is that? I feel like people who work in bookstores are just the most creative. And unfortunately for me and my wallet, this bookstore also has a large stationery / knick-knack kind of section, and I was trapped. I could not help myself from looking around. They had Taylor Swift pens. I have to actively limit the amount of time I spend looking at this stuff though, because I will either walk out with absolutely everything or forget that I was even looking at books in the first place. This is also your reminder to check and see if the bookstore has an events calendar and mark down anything that may be of interest to you, because just your attendance at these events is so important to businesses like this. Oh my gosh, hello! I'm sitting on a park bench underneath some Spanish moss, which is just so Floridian. I love it so much. Let's get into this haul. First off, let's talk about the important thing. I got a passport! And not only that, I met the girl that actually designed the passport. Her name is Sage. She works at Writer's Block Winter Park. She was so super sweet, but she designed the actual passport. Isn't that so fun? I told her what an amazing job since these things are highly coveted. She also informed me that this book crawl is happening now through the end of August 31st. So if you are in the greater Orlando area, swing by one of the stores on the list, get your passport, and support your local bookstore. Let me show you the fun stuff I got first. I did get the sparkly sticker that says Fantasy Book Addict. I mean, I could put this on my shirt right now. Also, with all my new physical books, I needed some new bookmarks, and I thought these were adorable. They're little stamp themes. I mostly got it because the one at the bottom is a flamingo, which again, the theme here is Florida bookstores, Florida aesthetics. And I'm happy to report that I did stick to my one book per bookstore rule this time, and I got the Dallergut Dream Department Store, which I have seen before briefly, but I kind of forgot it existed until I saw it in the store. It's recently translated, and it's basically about a department store that sells dreams. So the flappity flap says, "For Penny, an enthusiastic new hire, working at Dallergut is the opportunity of a lifetime. As she uncovers the workings of this whimsical world, she bonds with the cast of unforgettable characters, including Dallergut, the flamboyant and wise owner, Baby Nap Rockabye, a famous dream designer, Maxim, a nightmare producer, and the many customers who dream to heal, dream to grow, and dream to flourish." I just feel like this is gonna really suck me into a brand new world. I love that they are just constructing dreams. I think that that can go so many ways. They have a nightmare producer. I'm super excited for this, and it's a duology. There is another bookstore out here in Winter Park, and we're gonna head there next. Welcome to New Leaf Bookstore, which is located inside of the Winter Park Public Library. I honestly can't remember the last time I've even been in a library because I buy a lot of books now, but I was so excited to visit New Leaf because the store is a way for you to support this library in specific. So even though I don't come here very often, I can still show my support for a place where people love reading and love escaping into stories. The library was definitely one of my happy places as a kid. I loved going. My mom would take me multiple times a week, so I love that I have a way to support one here in my city. All of the books at this library are of course donated, and the workers are local volunteers. And this store is not new. It actually opened in 1995. So if you want to visit, just enter through the main library doors, take a left, and you'll find a few shelves of some hidden gems. Down the AC. I had it going so high because it is a hot summer day, but we went to New Leaf Bookstore inside of Winter Park Library. That is so sweet and just so adorable, and also the books were very cheap. Obviously they're not gonna have the fresh out the publishing house books, but you could find some gems, to which I did. I ended up finding this book called Daughters of Jubilation, and I'm serious, this is giving me Legendborn vibes. Let me just read you the inside flappity flap a little bit. So you listen to the flappity flap and you tell me if it sounds just a little bit like Legendborn. In the Jim Crow South, white supremacy reigns and tensions are high, but Evelyn, is it Evelyn? Everleen? We're gonna go with Evelyn for now. But Evelyn Deschamps has other things to worry about. She has two little sisters to look after, an overworked single mother, and a longtime crush who is finally making a move. On top of that, Evie's magic abilities are growing stronger by the day. Her family calls it Jubilation, a gift passed down from generations of black women since the time of slavery. And as her own magic continues to unlock, something dark comes loose and threatens to resurface. Like, it has a lot of the same makings of Legendborn minus the King Arthur of it all. And so I feel like it'll be a good story plus black girl fantasy. I love that they even had a book like that. I've never heard of this book. I don't know when it was published, but I bought it at the library bookstore for $3. I'll prove it to you. Look at that. I know that going to bookstores is an expensive hobby, especially buying physical books, not even physical books. If you have a Kindle subscription and you're buying Kindle books, you're buying audiobooks, like that adds up. But used books often are much cheaper. Like the one I got today was $3. The one I found at Sunshine Book Co. was $2. Plus, used books are so sweet because they kind of had a life before they got to you, so they kind of bring something a little extra special. Before we say goodbye, I thought it could be fun if we hop on into Rifle Paper Co. since we bought one of their books in this vlog, and they are in Orlando, at least founded, I'm not sure how to phrase that, company, and they have their big flagship store out here in Winter Park, so let's go.
Honey, I got what you want. Give me all of your love, 'cause it's burning hot. It's what you do to me, babe, I can guarantee. Honey, I got what you need. Under the night sky, I want your eyes all on me. Don't tell me lies now, I always
episode of the bookstore shopping tour may be coming to an end, but it is certainly not the last time you'll see me and not the last time you'll see me in a bookstore. So make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in the next book video, Disney vlog, who knows? Bye!
And don't forget to subscribe.